The ESP artificial boilies and double corn have been really popular hook baits and are initially designed to balance out different hooks depending on the size of the artificial bait. Plenty of people use these artificial baits as their everyday hook bait, but they really come into their own when you're fishing waters which have got crayfish, which is becoming a bit more of a problem. An artificial hook bait, if it's got no flavouring on, crayfish generally are going to home in on your free offerings more so than your hook bait, and if they do have a go at it, they're probably going to get bored and move on. If it's flavoured and soaked in a glug of some kind, then the crayfish are going to be attracted to it, but if they do have a go and they get bored, then they'll probably move off also onto your free offerings. The range of sizes in the artificials range caters for a lot of traditional rigs, different hook sizes, but if you're wanting to use a bigger hook or a slightly more component heavy rig, Hinge rigs, Chod rigs, Ronnie rigs with bigger hooks, then there's a little trick you can use to increase the buoyancy of the artificial hook bait. I didn't make it up. I was picking Kev Hewitt's brains and he told me how to do it. It's a really crafty little way to take a small hook bait or any of the hook baits in the range and make them much more buoyant. The way to do it, you'll see on top there, is filled with cork. Now, that seems fairly obvious, but given an artificial bait's quite hard and rubbery, they're not very easy to drill out. You'll have no chance of a bait drill unless you do Kev's little trick. And the way he does it, you take a bait drill, in this case I'm using a 6mm bait drill and 6mm cork sticks, and you hold the drill over your stove for longer the better, probably 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds, get it piping hot, and with the bait drill, go at the artificial bait, get nice and central, and it will carve out as if it's a soft food bait. Obviously collect all your bits that drop out over a bucket lid or something. Everybody's components are slightly different, and whether you're using a hook ring swivel or a bait screw, it can change massively how much your pop-up sits up. So you really want to tinker with it as much as you can. In this case, I've drilled out probably 80% of this bait and I filled it with cork. This sits up really nicely. I've used some of the bigger ones in the range and some of the smaller ones as well, depending on the fishing situation I'm in. So whatever your hook size and your components, with enough cork or foam, because you can use both, you're going to be able to get a really nice critically balanced pop-up. In terms of attaching them, you can obviously hair rig them, you can use your hook ring swivel and bring your floss through as usual. If you're using a bait screw like I am, you can screw through the bottom, make sure you've left some of the artificial bait and not drilled out the entire thing, because otherwise you're going to pull the cork out. But this is going for a few mil of the bait into the cork, and I've fished at over 100 yards regularly this year and I've never had a hook bait come off or dislodge in any way. There's already a range of colours and sizes of these artificial baits in the double corn or the artificial boilies. The range so far has been fairly high vis, caught loads on them this year, and for those of you that like to match the hatch, at the moment we're developing some much more food coloured baits to match your freebies. They're a bit more inconspicuous and they've caught plenty of fish in testing as well. So there you go, a nice and easy way to take an artificial hook bait and give it the same buoyancy as a cork ball pop-up.